Welcome to Hack the North 2021. We're so excited to have you join us for a weekend of building, learning, and connecting with new people.
We're Hack the North organizers and your MCs for our opening ceremonies, here to kick off the best weekend of the year. My name is Yash.
And I'm Anna, and we're coming to you live from the Engineering 7 building here at the University of Waterloo. Now, before we start, we'd like to say that Hack the North acknowledges that our in-person event takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. We are currently situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River.
While we meet in a virtual space, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. Speaking of virtual spaces, we have an incredible crowd this year at Hack the North. We've managed to get over 3,000 of you from over 30 countries all around the world. We'd love to know where you're hacking from, so drop your country in the chat. Take a look. Anyone here from Europe? Canada's.
A lot of Canada. Oh, India.
Canada.
A lot of Canada, more India, Zimbabwe.
Awesome.
That's so cool. United States. And of course, a huge chunk of you are from right here in Canada. Welcome to Hack the North, everyone.
The next 36 hours will be filled with new projects, friendships, and ideas you can take with you on your journey. We have amazing workshops, meetups, and activities planned. Personally, I'm really excited for the karate class. How about you, Anna?
Whoa, karate. That sounds so cool. I heard that there's a paint night. I can't wait to paint like Bob Ross. And if you're in the Kitchener and Waterloo area, we have some really fun in-person activities planned for you, like laser tag and bubble soccer, and we can't wait to see your faces there. But with masks on, of course.
Now, because this is a virtual first hackathon, we do ask that you follow our code of conduct and ensure your behavior is respectful and kind throughout the duration of our event. This includes all calls, chats, Discord channels, and in-person activities.
For sure. And if you want to take a closer look at our code of conduct, you can find it in the rules channel of our Discord server. And while you're there, check out all the amazing people coming to our event. We're fortunate to have so many amazing sponsors, mentors, and workshop leads, all here to help you bring your ideas to life.
Now, let's switch gears and talk a little bit more about what's happening this weekend.
To start off, let's talk about the platforms that we'll be using. There are 3 main ones: the Hacker Dashboard, Hopin, and Discord. The Hacker Dashboard at my.hackthenorth.com is your starting point for the event and your central source of information. It includes a full interactive schedule of the weekend, tools to help you find a team, and lots more. Hopin is the platform where you'll find our ceremonies, panels, workshops, speed networking, and the sponsor bay. It's a platform you're currently watching ceremonies from right now. And lastly, Discord is where you can participate in meetups, activities, chat with others, and anything that's a bit more chill. Discord is also where live judging will happen. And remember, there's so much more to do this weekend than just hacking. We have a ton of great resources for our workshops and activities all on our Hacker Dashboard.
And if you ever need help with your hack, you can always reach out to our mentors. To be paired up with a mentor, you can use the mentorship tool found on the Hacker Dashboard. You'll receive a ping on Discord once you've been matched. And if you want some quick advice, feel free to jump into the mentorship voice channel.
The project submission form, which is also on your Hacker Dashboard, will open as soon as hacking starts. We encourage you to submit early, as you can keep editing and resubmitting up until the deadline. Project submission will be hosted on DevPost. More detailed submission instructions are available on Discord and on your Hacker Dashboard.
Let's also take some time to review the hackathon rules and judging criteria. For your project to qualify for our prizes, make sure they follow these rules. Number 1, you can have a maximum of 4 people on your team, and everyone must be accepted to this year's event. Number 2, all code must be written at the hackathon and disclosed. You may not resubmit an old project or submit the same project to other hackathons at the same time. And finally, number 3, finalists will be judged based on technical difficulty, originality, design, and wow factor.
On Sunday, you'll have the opportunity to share your project to industry leaders in either a live or pre-recorded demo. You can also enter API prizes, which are presented by our sponsors, by using their API in your hack and including a video demo in your submission.
And if you ever need help with API prizes, we have a ton of resources to help. You can find API workshops posted to the Hack the North YouTube channel and ask questions in the respective sponsor Discord channels.
After judging, we'll then be welcoming a few of our finalists up onto the virtual stage at closing ceremonies to share your amazing projects.
Okay, we've gone through a lot of information, but you can find everything we just talked about and much more on the Hacker dashboard at my.hackthenorth.com. And if you ever have any questions, message the Help Desk channel on Discord or hop on the Help Desk voice channel. We're happy to help. And now, let's introduce our keynote speakers for Hack the North 2021, Garry Tan and Suhail Doshi. Garry is a designer, engineer, and investor. You may know him as the co-founder of Initialized Capital, early-stage investor of companies like Coinbase, Flexport, and Instacart. But he also co-founded a Y Combinator-backed blog platform, Posturous, which was acquired by Twitter in 2012. Previously, Garry advised and funded more than 1,000 companies as a Y Combinator partner for nearly 5 years, and was a founding engineering team member at Palantir.
Suhail is a computer programmer and product builder. In 2009, he started Mixpanel, a product analytics software company that helped app developers understand how their users were using their mobile and web apps. Mixpanel grew to nearly $100 million in revenue and to 30,000 customers. In 2018, he started Mighty, which is a faster browser that is streamed entirely from a powerful computer in the cloud. In joining Garry and Suhail as moderator is Kevin Lau, Senior Product Manager at Instacart. And so, let's give a warm welcome to our speakers.
All right. Hey, guys.
Hey guys. Yeah, hello.
Wow.
Thanks for being here.
What an honor it is to be here. Thanks
Yeah.
to the team, and congratulations to everyone who's here to make some awesome stuff this weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for taking the time to be here. It's obviously a huge honor. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from the different perspectives that you guys both bring. I think, yeah, we did a great kind of overview about like your respective backgrounds, but I'm excited to dig into the details because it's obviously something we can't fully unpack within a quick intro. But yeah, excited to dig in.
Yeah, I guess, one of the things that I wanted to start with actually is asking Suhail, do you remember when we first met?
Of course I remember. Yeah.
In
definitely.
person anyway. I think we were introduced through mutual friends from like sort of the startup world, but how old were you then? I think it was 2009 and I was 28 at the time. So I was like maybe a year and a half into starting Posturous and running my own startup.
Yeah, I was 20 and I was trying to see if I could get your advice about how to get into Y Combinator.
And it happened to be actually, I think, it was actually a few hours before you had to go and do your actual interview with Paul Graham and Jessica Livingston. And was it with like the original crew? So like Robert Morris and Trevor Blackwell too, and Jessica?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Exactly those people. Yeah. Yeah. We met at the Creamery. I remember we did a mock interview. I think you were the only person that we did a mock interview with. And then we were both headed to the same place. We both got on Caltrain and went down to Mountain View.
Yeah. And then I remember, one of the things that, I wanted to make clear for PG was how easy it was. And, today analytics is something that's sort of at the core of what every product manager and basically anyone who makes anything has to know, what a funnel is, for instance, and know what retention is. But I remember you describing to me exactly what that was actually at the Creamery, like across from Caltrain back then. And just, I think that's just really easy to forget. I just tweeted this, like the WTF of, the what the F is that of today is the OMG, how did we live without it of tomorrow? And I think that like what you learned working for Max Levchin at Slide, just in your internship, like the year before, or the couple years before?
Yeah, it was actually just the year before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was really a WTF sort of moment because there was sort of broad awareness that there were a few very smart people who had cracked the nut on how to track user behavior, but it wasn't widely known yet. And so when you described to me what a funnel was, it immediately seemed like what I needed to use day to day. But that was something you actually had to teach a generation of founders how to do, and what it was and how to do it. And that was what Mixpanel was.
Yeah, that internship was the highest ROI internship maybe of my life. So internships are great. But yeah, I mean, I discovered, I mean, one little secret that I learned was that internships are a great place to go to a company and then like learn like what terrible, disastrous things are like occurring in the company, so that you can like go and maybe make something wonderful. And so, but it turned out that internship, it was more that that company was doing something that almost all the other companies weren't doing, and they were able to get a huge advantage, which is just tracking like all these interesting, crazy things. It almost seemed like they were too extreme about it, and so that was this huge inspiration for me sater leaving Slide. So, oh no, we lost Kevin. I don't know if that was intentional.
He'll be back for the Q&A.
Okay, all right, great. I didn't want to acknowledge him leaving suddenly. Yeah, so yeah, I think around 2009, the idea of like tracking a funnel or measuring retention or tracking events or actions that people take in an application, it was sort of like the way people would build software is they would just, I used to say that the way you used to have to build software was that everybody would have to have a Steve Jobs like intuition. And if you didn't, then you'd probably fail. And if you did, then maybe you would succeed. So we built software, we put it out there, and like hopefully you were right, you're right. If you weren't, well, then maybe you go build something else. And so with tracking data and seeing what people are doing inside of an app, it was actually really fun for me, because the reason I liked it was because I got to like build something, and then I got to see if my users cared. Did they even use the thing that I made? If they didn't use it, I get kind of sad. If they used it a lot, then I'd be really excited, and maybe I would double down on that thing. So those are all the things that I learned at Slide. And so I thought it would be really cool if it seemed really useful for other people. So yeah, I remember you being on the train.
That you were hearing, I mean, while you were sort of seeing these techniques, you could recognize as an outsider, as someone very young, but also technical, that there are just things that spoke to you, and that you realized this would be useful to other people outside of Slide and outside of the team that you worked on. And then you probably like you started talking to people like me and other people in the startup world who were like, what is that? And oh shoot, that sounds immediately useful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's this like interesting thing where if you can identify something in the future, like something that you think is going to happen in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, like it seems inevitable to you, and then there's a whole bunch of cool products or tools or things you can build. So for example, like the simplest thing almost feels, I feel like an old man saying this now, but back in 2009.
We are old now, Suhail. Sorry.
We're old. Yeah, you're right. But back in 2009, like one thing that happened is that the web went from, clicking on links to most things being like a web application. So there's this moment where Ajax got born and the Web 2.0 happened. And then basically all these things started becoming real web apps versus just this page of links. Like think Yahoo versus Gmail, like yahoo.com, portal of links versus Gmail, like an email app. And so it just dawned on me at that time that what was going to happen to page views. Page views are probably going to like kind of disappear, because you don't really think about when you use Gmail, you're going page to page. So if you can identify something that you think is imminently going to happen, like everything is going to change to becoming like that, then I think that you can start to build tools or software or build a company around the idea of like what might make those people more successful. So analytics and tracking events, tracking actions that people took in an app instead of a page view started to make more sense. It just seemed obvious. And yeah.
I mean, it sounds like that's sort of a life philosophy that you still use even today. I mean, as a side project, the last week or so, you released Tunes NFT. And that was sort of keying off of another thing that was happening around the Loot NFT project. I'm pretty sure a lot of people watching here are probably going to work on various NFT-like things this weekend. talk to me about how that jumped out at you, because I thought that was interesting to see you like sort of, just hearing about you get excited by it, was very interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm still very excited about it. For everyone else, like talking about crypto is always really challenging because it has a lot of buzzwords. So I'll try my best to try to plainly speak about it. But NFTs are just like collectibles, like Pokemon cards. And so people might pay for like a first edition Charizard Pokemon card. Well, they would do that digitally on the internet as well, for the same reason. So there's this idea that NFTs are really growing, and a lot of people like buying these collectibles. For some people, it makes no sense. Why would you buy a JPEG? I appreciate you buying my JPEGs, Gary. And so one small thing that occurred in the last 2 weeks, I would say this is really on the fringe. I would say most people in crypto still don't quite get it, even the ones that are like really involved in it. But what happened is that this project called the Loot Project came out. I think it's like lootproject.com. And all they did was print out a black square with a bunch of items like armor and weapons and like some
randomly generated text. Semi-random. Clearly someone put it together, but
yeah, they called it randomized adventure gear, and it was really cool. And they put it out, and why would anyone pay these things became like worth $50,000. There's 8,000 of them, and each one was like at some point worth $50,000, which is totally nuts. Why would anyone pay $50,000 for a black square with just some written text on it? It seems crazy. There's no utility beyond just owning this digital thing. And the reason why it became so valuable was not just because of hype, and there's this general, maybe perhaps unsustainable trend of buying collectibles online right now, but it became extremely exciting because people started building things. Like someone started drawing like the weapons in the game, and then they would give those to the people that owned loot. And then people started like making characters or animated characters or Lego looking animated characters. And so all these like things spawned from it. And so what I learned was in the last 2 weeks that NFTs could become kind of like a platform of things. And so the things they're technically called derivatives. They're the derivative of that piece of artwork. And so then I had this idea, what if we did that for music? And so we started out with like just generating titles using OpenAI's GPT-3, and just like literally mind-numbing work of like maybe 40 hours just sitting in front of a terminal. I made a quick program that would just generate song titles and then put a Spotify player and then a song title, and then allowed people to basically get that for free, and then they could sell it. So now it's actually traded. It's only been live for like a week and a half or something like that. It's already traded like $800,000 in Ethereum or something like that. People just like buying these. And then someone made like AI generative art, and it's just growing in the same way that not as fast as Loot, but in a similar fashion. People are building things on top of it.
Yeah, and it sounds like one of the things that's really cool about it is because it's on the blockchain, it's public, people can basically build on top of it. So there are a lot of very interesting, basically derivatives off of it. Yeah. And then it's happening all, in a very open way. So sort of feels like improv comedy where, basically anyone can go out and just say yes and then the joke gets funnier, maybe. I mean, it's just like more value is created and generated as more and more people decide to build on this thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a really funny story. I don't. It seems like low probability chance it could have happened. But my wife, she just recently knew someone like a camp counselor that passed away due to COVID. And her name was Penny. And so she invented, one night when I was sitting in front of the computer, I was like, do you want to invent any last songs in this list of songs titles? And she's like, yeah. She named a song called A Penny for Your Mind. And this random person ended up like getting one of these NFTs with that song title. And then he actually made a song called A Penny for Your Mind, or For My Mind. And it turned out that guy is also, he like lives in Australia or something, and he produced for like Nicki Minaj and stuff. So the internet is an amazing place. And he threw it on SoundCloud and people loved it. And just like random string of events that happened that's really cool.
I mean, the other thing that I was really taken by is, for the longest time, and I think you still have a Discord for this around Shipping Friday. On Fridays, you would just tweet and say like, so what are you shipping this week? Talk to me about, how did you start thinking about it in that way? And I think it's the same reason why a lot of people are taking their weekends to try to create something awesome right now.
Yeah. Shipping Friday came out, it was sort of born out of like there are a lot of funding announcements. That's fine. There are a lot of people that there was a lot of people that are trying to give people advice on Twitter constantly. That's fine. But I kind of wanted there to be something that was really like about building things. There's also a lot of people that want to build things, but they don't end up building things. And so I wanted to like really encourage people and have maybe an incentive to build things. So, the way I created an incentive was I would just, I would write a tweet that says, what are you shipping today? Or what did you ship this week? And then hundreds of people would reply. And then I would just basically pick like the coolest thing out of that list. And I would just like give it some marketing basically. And a couple projects actually, like one project was called Meter, and that project ended up getting like 40,000 installs later because other people saw it and they all wanted it. And yeah, I just wanted to focus a bunch of people in a community around building and actually shipping things versus just talking about things you would want to build. And so I thought that would be more exciting. And so we actually have this Discord where we don't talk about like fundraising and we don't talk about like
fundraising is lame. It's the building.
How to get into Y Combinator. I mean, all this information, the thing is all this information is just like you and like a lot of other people have already created tons of this information. And so it just feels like other people are just recycling the same thing, but it'd be valuable if like, there's a community of people that kind of encouraged each other. And so I have this channel that I love. It's called Wins of the Week. It'll just be people that just post like, I got my first customer and they paid like $500, or I grew revenue by 100%, or I hired someone, like just small little things that encourage people to have community around building things.
And these communities are actually really important. I mean, one the other examples of this, I would say Hacker News initially was that for me. Hacker News has become much more cynical over time, but
Sure.
Some of that maybe the new version is Shipping Friday on Discord, and some of it is still on Product Hunt, for instance, just this like celebration of people making things, and it's certainly alive and well right here, right now at Hack the North, which is sweet.
Yeah, you should join our Shipping Friday Discord. I'll have to find the link or something later.
Suhail will tweet it. So
I'll tweet it.
I feel like that sort of brings us up to what you're working on now with Mighty, because earlier you were saying here's analytics, here's a thing that nobody knows how to do yet, and then people get a lot of value out of learning about it rather than just looking at page views on Google Analytics like a bunch of basically vanity metrics that lead you astray. You should probably actually know what's going on.
Yep.
And so that was a matter of like you modeling out in your head that would be valuable, and then it basically coming true in terms of revenue and driving tens of thousands of users and actually teaching them how to do it.
Yep.
And then Mighty, walk me through this new revolution, because I feel like there is at the kernel and core of that, the same kind of idea, saying that in the future we're going to have infinite compute and then infinite bandwidth. And if so, then what does that look like? And what's the first version that could work of that?
Yeah. I mean, when I kind of left Mixpanel and took some time off, I decided what I wanted to do, and I got this from Max Levchin, actually, who basically started like an incubator, and it was called HVF, but the HVF stood for hard, valuable, and fun. And I was
mantra now. It just goes over and over in my head, like day to day. All the things I want to work on need to be hard, valuable, and fun. And if not, I don't want to do them.
Yeah, exactly. Hard because like, you only have one life to live, and valuable because you want to make an impact on people that's positive, and fun because like, well, you should get some joy out of it. These are hard. Starting companies is so hard that if you don't have any fun, then, you won't survive like the 8 to 10, 20-year journey. So I started to ponder what would be hard, valuable, fun. There are a bunch of different ideas, but the idea that kind of stuck with me was something that most resonated with me as like a user of things. And that was just that, like, I didn't feel after maybe 11 years, 12 years of smartphones and mobile, I always like to try to pick a contrarian idea. So, when everyone's making like, for example, when everyone was making Facebook apps, when that was the thing, I decided that I would go make software for the Facebook apps instead of making Facebook apps and being in this highly competitive industry. And so I thought about the same thing a couple of years ago. I thought, what could I do? Well, I could go make, I could make something on mobile or whatever. But one thing that I thought of is that it seemed kind of like the desktop computer had kind of languished. That Apple and Microsoft had become kind of complacent. And I had sort of thought, like, what has been the biggest advancement in desktop computing in the last 10 years? And I was kind of like, at the time, 2 years ago, I was like, okay, we got the touch bar, which I hate, on a Mac. And Windows is like legacy software. They were like, this is the last version of Windows, a couple of years ago. And just not get the keys on my keyboard, like the butterfly keys, like everyone was complaining about that. Like nothing was really advancing. The webcam on our computer still hasn't really advanced a lot. Like we're not getting a lot. Even this past year, if you look at what was released for Monterey this year, for Monterey, the biggest innovation on Mac OS this year was FaceTime, just like better FaceTime on Monterey. And so that's like, to me, that's really disappointing because there's so many, like I use a computer, like a desktop computer, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, building things, creating things. I think there are billions of people that still do, and we're sort of in this rut. And that's in part because a lot of the big companies decided to prioritize mobile, which made total sense for them over the last decade. So the thought was to, what if we were to try to make a new kind of computer? What if that computer could be, what if we never had to upgrade our computer? What if we didn't have to choose the amount of RAM, or tell Apple we'll spend $400 more for like 16 more gigs of RAM, which is totally absurd. What if we didn't have to worry about disk? What if we didn't have to worry about like better CPUs or graphics cards? What if hardware was just as good as the cloud, just as good as AWS or Google Cloud Platform? What if I could just I could upgrade my computer like that? And what if I could save battery? What if I could get better apps that could work on that hardware? What if I had an NVIDIA GPU just because I wanted one today? So a lot of developers have that, but a lot of consumers of software don't get that ability. And that's somewhat disappointing. And that feels like that could be like, what if you could have a completely elastic computer? What could be if you did that? And so we thought that the right way to go attack that was to make a streaming browser, because we're spending all of our time in a browser. And if we're spending all of our time in a browser, then in that browser was somewhere else running on that elastic hardware compute, then we could really change something significant about desktop computing, which is just making web apps faster. They're kind of slow. They're kind of clunky. Yeah.
I think embedded in that is actually a sort of interesting secret kernel, which is a small team of a dozen or even like half a dozen, even like 1 or 2 engineers can create something that far exceeds that of the world's largest, biggest trillion-dollar companies, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite example is like, I can't tell you how often I just like want to throw my iPhone because the calendar app on, my iPhone is a piece of garbage. But, this is a company that Apple has like basically infinite resources and they can't fix it, right? And when you sit there and your laptop is about to like, blow your kneecaps off because it's about to launch into space because you open like one too many tabs. It's like, that's actually, people who are just not working on things that really matter, or they're in a situation that they don't let them work on things that matter, maybe. And so the maximum amount of freedom and power is an engineer creating something for themselves.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. When I look at my browser, I just wonder why is it not as smooth as my phone sometimes? Why doesn't it have that nice smooth rubber band effect on certain things? Why does everything slowly sort of jitter and load in this weird kind of bloated way? Why can't I have, Photoshop? Why can't I truly have an amazing Final Cut Pro in my browser? Why can't I have that? And we're not limited by what's possible. We know we can have Final Cut Pro because it exists on our desktop computer already. And so we're sort of limited by either browser committees, standards committees, or just Google's lack of desire or interest, sort of apathy to pursue that.
I mean, 1,000 middle managers between the software developer who's actually doing the work and, somehow, I guess, I mean, the top-down nature of things. Like I remember working at Microsoft and like looking that there were 11 managers between me and Bill Gates at that moment or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, unless Google decides to make, a video editor one day, they probably won't prioritize anything in the browser that is in pursuit of that. They're very much focused on like what their incentives are. And so I think we're just sort of, that makes me feel like we're stuck. Like, why can't we have great games in the browser? Why can't we have all those things? It seems the browser has always been really great. It's like the first actual thing that like, if wallets are akin to crypto, like the browser was akin to the web, And so it feels worrisome to me that it hasn't advanced. And so that's the part that I feel like is really valuable around Mighty. Like I feel like we could make this tremendous impact because we are not incentivized in the same way. And the part that makes it really fun is that it's just so hard to make. It's intellectually stimulating to like figure out how to make streaming software work. And it's really fun because you get to see the difference you might make by just like plugging in NVIDIA. Sometimes we get to buy servers and rack them. And we get to see exactly how getting an NVIDIA card inside of a data center computer and then making something like Figma faster. That seems really fun to me in a weird engineering sort of way. So
I mean, these are systems level problems that, the weird thing is if you go higher and higher in the stack, there are, tens of thousands and then hundreds of thousands of people who can, sort of tool around in glue code and CSS and whatever else. But once you get down deep enough in the stack of, Chromium or device drivers or, how to stream and how to compress with like tight timing constraints, like it's actually, you start sort of entering Stephen Hawking level of there may be a dozen people in the planet who understand, some of those things to the level that they could actually, fix a bug in it.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. For the team to get a little bit of inspiration, we were lucky in that we were able to get John Carmack to just like have like a Zoom meeting with us. Where the only topic of conversation was just how to reduce like input latency. Because a lot of people think like a streaming computer, I've used remote desktop, it's terrible, it's super laggy. But it turns out it's actually much better than people think these days. If you were to write a new networking protocol from scratch, if you were to like really go deep. And so we were lucky to talk to John about just like all his crazy ideas around, minimizing latency. And John's one of those people, for people that have read about him, he's the guy that made like Doom and Wolfenstein 3D and games like that. Commander Keen. These are games that I grew up on.
He made 3D games the moment that you could make 3D games, which is wild to think about, right?
Yeah, but if you haven't heard of those games, he was like CTO of Oculus for a while. He's done amazing things in video games, like a true pioneer. But he cares so much about optimizing things, and so he's like, that's just the way his brain is wired.
He's another person who I would say, like you. I mean, he looks at things that are sort of like WTF as that. And then later you're like, oh, could you even imagine not, being into, computer games and not having a 3D shooter, right? Like he made that genre because he figured out the linear algebra necessary to like make it feel like you were in a 3D place in a way that like didn't break the CPU.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. It's like, there's so many like analogies, I remember reading Masters of Doom, this really great book that chronicles like him and everybody from ID. And one of the cool things I remember in the book was that I think Super Mario came out and it was like on Nintendo and it was just this huge phenomenon at the time. And nobody could figure out how to get that game to actually work on a desktop computer. It like needed like special, hardware or something. And John replicated that game on a computer because of just some clever tricks with like, I don't know, like parallax or vector math or something crazy, some interesting optimization. And he like made Mario on the computer when it wasn't even when nobody thought it was possible. And then nobody wanted his clone version of Mario. So he ended up changing the game, I think, to be like some other game called Commander Keen. And like that game ended up being huge. Something like that happened. And so I just think about those moments where like, even it's so cool that he thought he just was frustrated by something that wasn't even possible. It was, and wanted it to be possible, and just found some clever tricks to push the fold. So yeah, I would just think, I always want to encourage people to kind of not feel so limited, even when things feel like, you know, they're limited or they're impossible. That's the only way we advance, by people like John doing weird things like that.
I have like a random weird tangent just because,
Yeah.
you know, one of the things I've been really thinking about is how when you were working on Shipping Friday, you were mentioning that there were other communities from the music creation world that sort of inspired you to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, and so you are also a composer and producer of electronic music.
Yeah, I write like pop, trap, EDM type of music for
Yeah.
fun.
And then, you know, recently I did a YouTube video about Kanye West, and what I didn't realize was he was a computer nerd like us, actually. So he got an Amiga,
Right.
and then he got into music composition basically through the software. And then
Yep.
what was interesting is that, you know, he just would come home every night, and, you know, you or I might have been like, you know, going through the Barnes and Noble computer book section to like learn how to code and things like that. But he was in there with his Amiga, with his 8-bit sampler, and trying to meet, like, you know, the heroes of his time, like trying to, you know, make beats for Jay-Z and things like that. So I just thought that that was very interesting. Even like his sped up loop, like, so his early work had like a lot of sped up loops. And that was apparently something that came out of the constraints of using an 8-bit sampler, because you couldn't fit like the samples in.
I see.
So it's just interesting to see, you know, it really is about trying to fit things into, you know, what is the state of the art of Moore's law and the memory constraints and your disk constraints, to come up with something that like could touch a billion people, whether it's like 3D games or analytics, or, you know, today the future of the browser, or, you know, even something just purely for fun, which is, you know, generative NFTs. You know, that I don't know. It's like that's just interesting. I don't know if there's anything else from like the music world that like speaks to you, that like is relevant to, you know, a group full of engineers who are trying to make things for a billion people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do think there is something relevant, which is that I think it's really valuable to sort of combine experiences of things. So if you're just an engineer and all you do is write code, and you just sort of sit in, you know, your bedroom and like that's all you do, or, you know, your dorm room or whatever, and you don't have any kind of like other outward experience, I think it becomes, it's not impossible to get ideas, but it is hard to get ideas of things that you could impact. You know, it was only until I went to Slide and got to see something else that, you know, I got to go, it became like easy to spot. It's easy to spot problems when they exist, but it's hard to find problems if there's no inspiration to spark that. And so, you know, everything from starting Mixpanel because of an internship, or, you know, the other thing that's interesting is for music, like one thing that occurred to me was that one thing I learned with music, I mean, there's couple things that I learned, but one thing that I learned was that I learned how good music artists are at branding, and how good they are at marketing themselves, and how good they are at like all this very creative work. And I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley are not that good at it, actually. Not as good as music artists, not typically. And then the other thing I learned about music was that artists are starving. So if you can make something that, you know, could make someone like $150, like that could make someone's rent, you know, for the month. And so it doesn't take much value to a music artist for them to feel a lot of value. And so I just think like these other adjacent industries or adjacent things that you do in life can be really inspiring about like how you think about the next thing. And otherwise, you're sort of trapped. You're sort of trapped into like the only thing you'll build are like developer tools for your engineering friends, which is like, you know, totally fine and great work. But it might limit and narrow all the possible things you could do.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the two examples that I always think about in terms of, you know, billion-dollar startups that started, you know, that we met when they were just a few people starting. Patreon is one where Jack Conte was a musician, actually.
Yeah, I watched his whole YouTube video. It's awesome.
Yeah, and his college roommate turned out to be Sam Yam. And, you know, what a combo. Like, they went on to create something that now is, you know, literally the Renaissance brand for how do you, you know, do patronage in like the modern society. It's like literally talk about giving people, you know, not just hundreds of thousands, but like actually millions of dollars at the top end for to do their art.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. And they're just getting started, which is cool. And the other one was
his story is just like that. His story is like he was a music person and then he couldn't make any money. And so he tried to like make Patreon as a way to get people to give him money for doing like live events or whatever. It's so funny. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how
you got to see weird stuff, right?
Yeah,
you got to be in there seeing things that are a little bit off the beaten path. And then you take your ability to create software and you combine it. And, then you can actually see the future. You just see around corners, basically. I mean, Flexport's the other crazy one where it's like Ryan Peterson in his 20s, like spent time in China and turned into one of the top importers of like electric bikes and medical hot tubs and things like that. And then that's the only way he could actually understand how global logistics actually worked.
Right.
So I think that's a great, moment to sort of stop and bring Kevin back. Yeah. And I think, I mean, thank you to Kevin and the team and everyone here for having us again, just because it's, fun to be with our tribe of builders.
Yeah, 100%. That was a very, very well-timed transition. I felt like I should just get out of the way. You guys are off to a great conversation. I felt like I didn't really need to be there. So
not at all. Welcome back.
You're back. It's like you never left.
I am back. I know. It's unfortunate that we have to, just because of timeliness, we have to kind of transition into our Q&A portion of the talk. But thank you very much for offering those thoughts. I took a bunch of notes actually personally for myself, especially the hard, valuable fun that really stuck out to me and really resonated, as well as the Discord community for builders. So hopefully we'll get into the Q&A. For the audience, a quick reminder that if you're on Hopin right now, there is a tab to the right of your screen where you can submit questions, and we'll be taking those in live and doing an audit. So if you have any questions for Garry and Suhail, please go in and enter your questions there. Otherwise, I think the first thing I would love to ask both of you is, so considering the kind of demographic of our audience, one thing that I certainly would like to know if I was kind of in that audience today is if you guys were like, say, an 18-year-old again, and you're either, are you actually this may be a good start, like, are you in college? Are you not in college? But the more meta question is, how would you be spending your time today if you were 18 again?
Man, I guess for me, and I talk about this on my YouTube channel once in a while, so it always feels like an overshare, but I was still understanding who I was at that age. And I think that anyone who is at that age, there are some people who we meet like who are great founders already, who like, I mean, we have 18-year-old founders all the time, but like they seem to be 1,000 times more mature than I ever was at that moment. And part of it is like, it's actually okay to be figuring out who you are. Like, you don't have to be quite in a rush. And then actually what I kind of wish I did was like, start getting therapy early. Cause I mean, one of the tests that I actually recommend people do that I wish I did was like the adverse childhood experience test. And, the test will actually tell you, for some people it's like, nope, you're fine. Like, and that's actually great. Like no worries. Right. But, I think that I spent a lot of time as, child of Chinese immigrants, growing up food insecure and actually like the child of an alcoholic. So, there are like some deep fundamental things that I've like just ignored about myself. And then it hurt me in my workplace and how I like interacted with, people, at how I thought about my own career, how I thought about like my own insecurity about whether I belonged. So I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, like, I think that I was too dedicated to the system. I, was sort of committed to getting a degree, and I don't know how important that actually was. I was glad that I did, and I learned a lot about who I was. So, you don't have to be in a rush. And like college is an awesome time to end up meeting people who could be your co-founder later, who will teach you about like the world in ways that you'd never understand, without like being there. But at the same time, like I probably would have spent less time on like my entrepreneurship society. I was like president of the Asia Pacific Entrepreneurship Society. And I like, for instance, I brought Peter Thiel to come speak and do dinners with like my classmates and stuff. And now I realize like, oh no, all of that time could have been spent like working on a startup or coding or, like you don't need practice. You don't need to like keep working on your resume. Like the only thing that stands between you and like making something is like, you pressing the compile button and then like putting it on the internet, Like I didn't have to like be president of like anything. Like I could just like make a thing. So that's how I would think about it as an 18-year-old. It's like, take your time, like figure out who you are, figure out like what you want, what you like find exciting and interesting, what's hard and valuable and fun to you. And then, you know, the reality is like getting a degree, it can be helpful, but it's like, is it, you know, valuable or fun? Sometimes not. Like, and if it's not, then don't do it. Suhail, you didn't get your degree, did you?
I didn't get it. No, I just had a kid and I had to select some college on his birth certificate. Yeah, I mean, hey, in fairness, Garry, you know, the last time, you know, one time Peter Thiel went and talked at an event, and then he started a company called PayPal with Max. So, in fairness, could have been cool. Yeah, I mean, I always think about this question a little bit because I get it asked in various ways, and I always think that the thing that people usually resonate with is if you're an Indian person or if you're Asian, you probably have parents that really want you to finish college and get a job and you know, do this like particular path, especially if they're immigrant parents like mine, where, you know, getting a master's degree really impacted their life. And so, you know, I always think about this. I mean, my quick spiel is just that, you know, Gary's right. I dropped out of college at right before senior year, so I had 1 year left. No, I got a degree. My mom hounded me for like years. You know, eventually we went from serious to joking about me, you know, coming back and getting my degree even like 10 years later. Now it's a family joke. But I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that there are some fields where getting a degree really matters. Like, you know, being a doctor is probably one of those fields. There are some fields where getting a degree maybe doesn't matter as much. Software engineering feels like one of those fields because you can like literally just like go to the library, as we talked about, open up a book and like start writing code, and nobody can stop you. It's all on the internet. No one needs to certify you. The jobs you might get as a result of that don't need you to have that education. You know, there are definitely two kinds of fields. One valuable thing I think that college is useful for is just, you know, you get to learn how to learn. You get to go to some place with other people, like-minded people. I'm sure if I met Garry in college, it would have been awesome. Probably would have started a company together, you know. So those are good reasons, I think, to like, you know, go to college. There are probably other reasons as well. But for me, there was a point where I hit this point in college where I was like, I don't feel like this is going in the direction that I want to go in anymore. You know, I'm like taking this, you know, whatever class, like the CS, you know, whatever 101 computer ethics course, and you know, I feel like I'm just going through the motions here. And so I think there's a point where if you hit that wall where you're not learning anymore, you know, you wouldn't stay in a job that you didn't learn much in. So I don't know why you would pay someone to not learn at the rate at which you would. So I think that's kind of strange. And so, you know, for everybody, I think, you know, for me, if I was 18, you know, I would tell myself to maybe have like pulled the trigger on like maybe dropping out sooner. And then with my immigrant parents, it was particularly hard. I think maybe other people might have this potential issue, but, you know, my mom definitely wanted me to finish college. And so, you know, it became kind of like this fight, this debate, this argument. And, you know, I was like really close to dropping out right before junior year. And then eventually I did. I actually think it's kind of useful. For my parents, it was useful because it gave me conviction about what I wanted to do. But you shouldn't be afraid of that if like your path, you know, doesn't necessitate, you know, having to finish school. You can learn all those things elsewhere. There's tons of areas. Yeah.
Yeah. This answer is interesting because like the audience is full of engineers and designers and product people and people who will like create. And so that's like very tailored to that audience. And then the reality is society still has this great sort. And it's like kind of really uncanny and weird to realize that. But like if you just start looking at you know, outside of the technical and builder fields, it's like, shoot, getting an MBA from like certain schools really matters a lot. And if you look at, you know, how capital is allocated, it tends to be allocated to like people with the right stamps on the forehead. I think it's changing. I think that's changing like relatively fast. So, you know, by the time it matters for the next generation, maybe it'll be totally gone. But these like stamps on the forehead tend to be very, very durable. So, you know, it's you know, if you're not technical, like the answer might be like, shoot, you know, you're much more beholden to the stamps on the forehead than the rest of us who can build stuff, right? And that's why building stuff is so important.
Yeah, your future is more
freedom. Building is freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with all of that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes dropping out is cheaper. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to live on your own dropped out than it is sometimes having to pay, school. I probably would have been one of those people that had the Thiel Fellowship been around. I probably would have jumped on something like that. But yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like my key takeaways there was, one is kind of first get internal clarity about like what it is that what matters to you, what you value, you find like meaningful, and what's, I guess, you actually like learning. And then from there, don't be too allured essentially by like, I don't know what the right term would be like, but like, clout chasing or like value signaling, like trying to get these like brand names and such. It's like, we talked a bit about the freeing power that being a builder gives you, and like, it sounds like the common trend is you would lean into that as early as possible in your career.
Yeah, I also just would encourage people not to just follow a linear line of structure and hierarchy and the same thing that everybody does just because you don't know what you're doing. Or I feel like you could be a little bit more contrarian than that and really think about like what you want to do. You don't want to end it with like, well, I just spent a whole year and then I got a piece of paper. Now what?
Yeah. The advice is like kind of dangerous at the same time, right? Because it's not like you are not beholden to anyone, right? What the luxury of like starting to collect the stamps and being a part of, sort of, I would say like, people talk about coastal elites, like that coastal like managerial structure is actually about like preserving the ability of a bunch of people to not contribute very much to society. And so if you opt out of that system and you could be a part of it, it does like, you are joining a different system, which is much more Spartan, which is you have to create something that other people need and want. And then that's the nuance for builders, is that builders like who are capable, like, dude, like there just aren't enough software engineers in the world, right? Like that calendar example is like the company that has unlimited like, resources. I mean, we live in this world that like bring up the S&P 500 stock like chart. And it looks like a linear line. And I'm like, I have no explanation for it. It looks like a scam. I cannot explain it, right? So, the professional and managerial coastal elite class, like being a part of that allows you to like basically do that kind of stuff and print money and like basically, I don't know what's going on over there, but it doesn't seem fair and it's probably not righteous, right? But the path of the builder means that you are way more beholden to actually creating something that a user cares about. Like you actually need to create good software. You actually have to make something that you can't just solve your own problem, right? Like having a job, working as a PM and shipping bad code as the calendar, PM, designer, dev at like Apple working on like, it's like, it's sad. I feel sorry for those people, right? But at the same time, they're getting paid like millions of dollars to do like the world's worst work, right? And it's sad, right? But that's the exchange, right? That's capitalism in a nutshell, right? And so, it doesn't come for free. When you opt out of like the do nothing system, then you do have to create something great. And then the measure of the yardstick of that is actually your user and your customer. And, but that's the beauty of it, right? You can't hide. There's nowhere to hide.
I love that. There's so many tweetable tidbits. I hope someone is tweeting these out. That's a good segue, actually. So one of the audience questions that we got was when we think about impact and we think about value, how do you guys determine that? For like, do you have like an internal rubric for like what kind of meets your bar for like, okay, this is an important problem to work on. This is like, going to be valuable. Is it something that you kind of discern, or is it more of something that you just kind of let market forces dictate you ship it in, see if people find it useful?
Yeah, I'll let Garry do the philosophical version of this. I'm going to do the more practical version of this. The practical version of this, like you're just like building a product. One thing that I actually do with my own team of people at Mighty is we have this definition of a happy user. You can define a happy user how you want to, but the way we define it is pretty simple. It's just 3 dimensions. You pay for it, you actually use it, and you would go out of your way organically to say something positive about it. Like it wouldn't be like us trying to fish for it. You would have actually done it on your own. Those 3 dimensions define a happy user. And so instead of building software that's just about growing revenue, or just building software that's trying to get people to just be really addicted to something like Facebook, we try to build software that can attack all 3 dimensions, because we think that will make a better product, that will make a better company, that maps better to like all of our collective ambitions. And so we're really religious about like trying to figure out how to make a happy user.
I don't know if I have a philosophical answer. I have more like a visceral answer, which is
Okay.
I find myself, when like working on Post Haven, for instance, which is still up and running, and we run that as a profitable business, or even working on Initialized, or I have some things in the back of my head that like it's not like I'm out of things to do. Like I have 2 young children at home. I have to run $1 billion worth of money and like have, a large team at Initialized, and I have a YouTube channel I'm trying to grow. It's like, I got a lot of stuff going on, but there are like things that I, sort of find myself thinking about no matter what. And then they tend to be either fun, valuable, or both. I guess the weird thing for me is like, if I think it's too hard, I'm sort of dissuaded from it. I'm more of a valuable and fun person. Basically because I don't have enough time, I tend to like not work on the hard things anymore. But if I was younger, I would like spend a lot more time on the hard. But anyway, I find that viscerally, the things that I want to work on, like I think about compulsively. I can't do anything other than think about it. Like, when I try not to work on it, I accidentally work on it. Like, when I'm not looking. I don't know. It's so that's how it sort of works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think one other dimension that sometimes works for people that you may consider is like whether you be proud of what you're doing or proud of the result of what you're doing. Like if you can't, I give an example, like you could work on like software, no offense to anyone working on software like this, but you could like work on software that's just about, I don't know, like you could work on to-do list software, right? And if you'd like, look, maybe you could make a lot of money, maybe it could be really hard, maybe it would even be valuable, but you might go, I'm just working on like a to-do list piece of software, or I'm just working on a recipe website. You might not look at it as like, even though you can make money, you may not find yourself coming, looking back later and going, man, I'm really proud of that thing. And I think for a lot of people, that's how they choose where they work in a particular job. People could go work at Google, but they go and take a risk, even at the age of, 38, 40, to go try to start a company instead of making millions of dollars at Google, because they wouldn't be proud of whatever they would work on at Google. So I think that's a worthy dimension for some people.
I guess from my days at YC, one of the interesting patterns that came out of that is that people tend to, the reason why hard is one of the criteria is that people tend to shade away from things that are hard. And then if you're a startup, you will find way less competition on the things that seem so outrageously hard that, most people don't want to try. And you'll actually counterintuitively have an easier time making that thing work if it's hard and people are afraid to work on it. Because if you succeed, you'll just roll it up.
Yeah, you also encourage people that are really good at writing code or programming or marketing or anything to come work at your company because it seems exciting. It seems ambitious. It seems almost like you'd think that it would dissuade a lot of people because it seems impossible. But it often does it often attracts some of the best people. Sometimes like the easy thing actually really dissuades the best talent.
Right, because you want it to be like a meaningfully meaty problem that you can actually like dig into. And also,
yeah,
like,
I mean, if you're going to spend 8
inspires.
hours. Exactly. Yeah. If you're going to spend 8 to 10, 12 hours of your day every day for years, I think you want to be really picky about how you do, how you spend your time.
I think the easy stuff, one way to look at it is like trying to find your lost car keys under a street lamp. Like the chances of it being there, probably not. It's probably not there. Stop looking under the street lamps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Wow. So, gents, we are coming up rapidly on time. But one thing that I definitely wanted to ask, this was like the by far the highest voted audience question is, Garry, it's super obvious that you're a YouTuber based off of your setup. The people need to know, what webcam do you use? And also, I'll tackle this one on, how do people find you on YouTube? I know you have a YouTube channel that I think is coming up on 200K subs soon. So,
Oh yeah, youtube.com/Garry Tan, really easy. And then it's actually a DSLR. So plus I have a softbox over here and a rim light, and I got some background lights. So it looks like a little set in here. But I mean, this is we're in front of like the coolest, nerdiest set of people in the world who are going to go build a thing for billions of people. So I'm not afraid to say this. It's like, don't be afraid of like going all the way. If you're interested in something, like, don't be self-conscious, just like go all the way. It's like, I got into videography and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm going to read like every textbook that exists on like how to do Hollywood lighting and like what's Rembrandt lighting and like, what's hard lighting, what's soft lighting, what are all the different types of diffusers. So anyway, the cool thing is like we're all internet native now. And so literally every super weird thing that you could be into, you can go all the way. You could be like, and so just indulge it, just like there's no reason not to be as weird as possible, because we have the internet now, and the internet will reward you for being infinitely weird like me.
I love that. I love that so much. And then quick bonus fire round. It is Friday today. So what have y'all shipped? Are you going to be shipping today?
Oh gosh, at Mighty, I think we're on release 99. So we've done 99. We've shipped 99 versions. We ship every week. I have no idea what's in that 99th version. Actually, probably just a bunch of bug fixes and stability issues. I wish it. Sometimes work is not like you ship this grandeur feature. Sometimes work is just grinding to make something that just works really, really well. Yeah.
I got a new video coming out on Monday.
Nice. Yes.
That's awesome.
It's an interview with Van Neistat, who, Casey Neistat's brother, who has a new YouTube channel. And it's actually about him and how he started teaching all of us how to vlog.
I love that so much. Yeah. The Spirited Man, I believe, is
the Spirited
his
Man
channel name. That's right. I'm a big fan. Well, awesome, guys. I think we'll park it right there because the show must go on. But thank you again so much for taking the time. Really appreciated the conversation. I personally took like a gazillion notes out of this. So I'm excited to see the final video when it goes up and what people have been saying on Twitter. So thanks a lot again, guys, for taking the time. It was an absolute honor.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you so much, Garry Tan and Suhail Doshi, for taking the time to share your experiences with our hackers. And thank you, Kevin, for moderating. Now, we have some really cool sponsors this year that are so excited to meet each and every one of you. This event wouldn't be possible without their support. We'd like to sincerely thank our gold sponsors, Loblaw Digital and Hootsuite, our silver sponsors, Cansolve.com, Cockroach Labs, RBC, Lunch Club, Facebook, Deloitte, and Cisco.
And our bronze and startup sponsors, Loyalty One, Citadel, IMC Trading, Validare, OTPP, Ubisoft, Waterfront International Limited, DRW, IBM, Google, ACV Auctions, Fair, Procter & Gamble, Hammer of the Gods, Genesis,
D2L, Algorand Foundation, Cashflow Portal, Coda, Microsoft, Figma, Cash App, CGI, Dropbase, Contrary, Next Canada, Profound Impact, Hypotenuse Labs, VoiceFlow, and Tuned.
And our partners Techion, Waterloo Engineering, University of Waterloo Faculty of Mathematics, University of Waterloo, and Communitech. We really appreciate all of our sponsors and partners for believing in our event. Thank you for helping our hackers dream big.
Many of our sponsors have really fun activities planned over the course of the weekend, like Tech Talks, meetups, and API prizes.
We'd like to play you a few video messages from our sponsors to tell you a bit more about themselves.
First up, we have Hootsuite.
Our team is very excited to be back at Hack the North this year. So, Hootsuite. At Hootsuite, our driving purpose is to champion the power of human connection. Hacking is a big part of our culture. We have 2 hackathons a year, and actually Hootsuite was created as a hack 12 years ago in Vancouver, Canada. What started out as a simple SaaS business with a web application to help schedule posts to Twitter has grown into a product that's used by top companies around the world to publish content to some of the biggest social media accounts out there, to efficiently engage with tens of thousands of social media users every day, and to analyze terabytes of social media data. So our CTO organization is made up of development, design, product management, operations, security, escalation and supportability, and program management departments. And those teams are located across offices in Bucharest, Belgium, London, Milan, Rome, Toronto, New York, and Vancouver. And we also have members in our teams located remotely in homes all across Canada and the US. So we pride ourselves on scale. We publish millions of social media posts every week on behalf of our users. We pride ourselves on speed of delivery. Our continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines mean that we ship to production dozens of times every day. We use a variety of tools, technologies, and programming languages, chiefly amongst them Scala and Golang, to build our backend microservices, and React JavaScript to build our web clients. We love small, enabled, autonomous teams who can move fast and create the greatest impact for our customers. So social is based on connection, and at the heart of connection is inclusion. So our ask is to use social media powers for good. At Hootsuite, we are dedicated to building a diverse community, one where employees feel a sense of belonging and are valued for the perspectives they have and celebrated for the contributions they make. Hootsuite has implemented a number of foundational programs aimed at building a more diverse and inclusive organization, such as implementing improvements to how we source and recruit employees, and making unconscious bias training available to everyone in the org. So our ask: participate in our API challenge. Use social media for good. Our Raspberry Pi will be awarded to each member of the winning team who makes the best use of the Hootsuite API to improve how we communicate in today's connected world. Additionally, the winners will have an opportunity for a virtual meet and greet with our CTO, Ryan Donovan. This has been very popular in the past. And we're excited to announce that winners will also receive an invitation to interview for our upcoming software development co-op roles. We hope you'll participate. And don't forget, we have recruiters and devs in our booth all weekend long. Drop by and chat with us. We're hiring for our winter software dev co-ops. And so if you're looking for your next co-op opportunity, we'd love to have a chat with you. Happy hacking.
Thank you, Hootsuite. And next up, we have COB.
Welcome, everyone, to Hack the North 2021. I'm Christina Prue, the Director of Innovation Operations for the Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security Program, also known as IDEAS.
And I'm Sebastian Bronsard, Director of Force Development with the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command, better known as CANSOFCOM. IDEAS and CANSOFCOM have partnered with Hack the North since 2017 and have been amazed at both the quality of you, the participants, and your work.
Defense and security issues are complex, but we are excited to see how you use your hacking skills to tackle our challenges this weekend. Visit our virtual booth to meet the mentors who created our challenges, compete for prizes, and learn more about how we encourage defense innovation in Canada.
While you're at our virtual booth, ask our team representatives about careers or career opportunities with the Canadian Special Operations Forces. They can get your resume into the right hands. To date, CANSOFCOM has hired more than 25 students from Hack the North.
Well, hackers, all the best this weekend, and have some fun. Amusez-vous.
Nous avons bien hâte de vous rencontrer et d'interagir avec vous. À bientôt.
Thank you, CANSOFCOM. Next up, we have Cockroach Labs.
Hi, I'm Amrita and I'm the developer advocate at Cockroach Labs. We are the makers of Cockroach DB, a distributed SQL database built for the cloud that lets you scale fast, survive anything, and thrive everywhere, just like a cockroach. To know more about Cockroach DB, chat with us on Discord. Happy hacking!
Thank you, Cockroach Labs. Next up, we have RBC.
Hi, my name is Anthony Vaca, and I am the Senior Director of Developer Experience and our newly formed Open Source Program Office at RBC. Normally, we'd be at Hack the North, matching or even pushing that energy forward. We love meeting the brightest, most innovative people, and of course, checking out the latest swag. But as we emerge out of the pandemic, as difficult as it was over the last 18 months, I hope everyone is doing well and connecting with others. Our devs have been more connected globally as ever before. For us, we did more virtual escape rooms, trivia nights. We started engaging with open source communities. We hired more students. We even doubled down on our community service, where we had over 100 RBCers donate their time to help over 1,000 kids learn how to code for the first time. This pandemic has made us think differently, and my advice to you today is be different, be you, and I wish you all the best of luck. And if you join RBC one day, please reach out, and I'd love to hear your story. Stay safe and best of luck.
Thank you, RBC. Next up, we have Lunch Club.
Hey, I'm Scott. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Lunch Club. What we do is we use machine learning to make the right professional intros, and those lead to video and in-person conversations and even more. We're a super fast-growing startup, early stage. We're backed by some of the top VCs in Silicon Valley. Very engineering and product-heavy team. Our team is full of hackathon winners, competitive programmers. We even have a couple former Hack the North organizers as well. Our team's from all over the world. We've got open roles for both internships through the year and for full-time. Super excited to be sponsoring for the first time. If you're interested in working with us, if you're interested in learning more about startups in general, if you just want to chat and hang out, just drop us a line. We'll be around through the weekend. We'll be at our virtual sponsor table or on Discord in the Lunch Club chat. Excited to meet you all.
Thank you, Lunch Club. Next up, we have Facebook.
Hey everyone, my name is Bill Honey and I am the University Recruiting Lead for Software Engineering here at Facebook. We're really excited to be back once again at Hack the North. I wish we could be there in person with you, but I have a team of Waterloo alums that are really excited to help you out virtually. Come find us on Discord if you have any questions on your project, if you're running into any bugs or blockers as you're working through things. We're here to help. We're also here just to chat about life at Facebook, what it's like to be an intern or a full-time employee. So come find us there as well if you just want to chat. We'll be there for most of the whole weekend, and so whether it's late at night or early in the morning and you just want to chat, reach out because someone will be monitoring the chat to connect. We'll do a couple events in Hopin as well. I'll do an AMA on recruiting life and how you can be involved in the process. Our engineers will do day in the life as well. So just keep an eye on our sponsor channel and you can find out what we're going to be up to over the weekend. But have a wonderful time this weekend. It's so much fun to get to do something like this. Hope you really enjoy it. And come find us. We'd love to connect. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Facebook. Next up, we have Deloitte.
We used to brave the crowds, the packed trains, the gridlock, and the blizzards just to make it to our desks. That was work. Then we braved our homes, the clutter, the distractions, the video calls.
I can't hear you, Brian.
The video calls.
I think you might be on mute.
And all the other distractions.
Oh, that's the doorbell. Just give me a second.
For a while, that was work. We found TV, time blurred and stretched, and we found some interesting ways to spend it. This experience has taught us a lot, and we've been taking notes. Now, we can do more than return to how things used to be. We can make them better than they've ever been. We will return to our offices to collaborate and connect. We will visit and work side by side with our clients. We will work virtually. And when it adds real value, we will travel. But we'll do it all with intention. This is our hybrid model, the trust to choose when, where, and how we do our best work. Whether it's here, or here, it's the flexibility to choose. This is our chance to reinvent the status quo for professional services. It's our chance to say goodbye to the extremes and build a better balance, the best of both worlds. And it's our chance to build a category of our own, a category of one. Because it's not the hours we spend, it's making an impact that matters for our clients, our communities, our planet, and ourselves. It's not a destination. It's a horizon to chase. It's Deloitte's next normal. The way we work, the work we do, reinvented.
Thank you, Deloitte. Next up, we have Cisco.
Hey, Hack the North hackers. Great to see you. Hope that you're going to have a great weekend. I'm Haley with Cisco, and we are excited to see you this weekend and all that you can do. Get your problem solving on, be innovative and creative, and stop by and see us to find out more about the great things that we're doing at Cisco, how you can be you with us in our internships, co-ops, and full-time opportunities. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Cisco. Last but not least, we have Loblaw Digital.
Hi, my name is Amina.
Hi y'all, Matt here, also known as MJD.
And we are the commissioners of LDCC.
Interested in knowing a little bit about the culture at LD? Check this out.
Good morning. My name is Amina Sharif and I'm a technical project manager at LD, and I start my day at the dog park so I can tire my 1-year-old puppy out before I can work all day. This is her, Jasmine. Yes.
Hello, Kate Barker, Director of Acquisition for PC Express, and I am picking up my PC Express order today. I think I was in and out in about 5 minutes. It's great.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the production and photography manager here at Loblaw Digital. Been working with the company for almost 5 years now, and I absolutely love it here. My favorite part for sure is the people I get to work with. So nice being able to work with such smart individuals on a daily basis.
Hi, my name's Tim Hawks. I'm here with Soka, my trusty sidekick and colleague. I've been with Loblaw Digital for about 1.5 years. I'm a senior technical project manager on the Shoppers Drug Mart business. And I think the best part about working for Loblaw Digital is the fact that we're given the opportunity to solve complex problems with a group of like-minded people who really push each other to go further every single day. And the best part is that we have fun while we're doing it.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I am the copy and content manager, and this morning I'm waiting for my PC Express online grocery pickup order after dropping my kids off at school before I go home and get started with my day.
Hi, I'm Hillary, and this is Oliver, and I work at Loblaw Digital. I'm the production lead for online grocery, Loblaw Media, Marketplace, and Meals. And part of why I love working at Loblaw Digital is that I really love the people. I get to work with a lot of creative and fun people, and my job's pretty cool too.
Hi, I'm Ika Shah, and I'm a technical project manager at Loblaw Digital, and I joined LD in September 2020, last year during pandemic. So this was my first ever virtual onboarding experience as well, which was amazing, by the way. And one of the best things about working at LD is that you get to work with some like-minded people who are so passionate about solving customer problems or improving customer experiences as well. We have super fun working together. And speaking of fun, if you know about Harry Potter's Triwizard Tournament, LD has its own LDCC Championship Cup. So this is an amazing championship that goes on throughout the year, and we love participating in that. As a matter of fact, we have a cake bake-off today happening, which is of course virtual.
Thank you so much for all these amazing videos. Sponsor booths will be open on Hopin right after opening ceremonies and at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Our sponsor reps are really excited to meet you, so be sure to head on over there and say hi. We're also super excited to announce that we will be partnering with MLH for the upcoming 2022 hacking season. To tell you more about it, let's switch over to Jacqueline.
Hey, I'm Jacqueline from Major League Hacking, and I'm super excited to be here with Nick at Hack for North this weekend. 3 years ago, Hack for North was my first ever hackathon, and it's safe to say it changed my life. So hey, you're gonna have an amazing weekend here. Now, I'm about to tell you a ton of really important stuff. If you're anything like me, you're gonna forget about it, or you're just gonna ignore me. So when you do, head over to hack.mlh.io for everything that you need to know. But first, what is Major League Hacking? Well, we are the global hacker community, and it's our mission to empower hackers just like you. In fact, in the last year, we've empowered over 135,000 hackers from all around the world. Now, by being at Hack for North this weekend, you're earning community points. Your school, college, or university, whichever school gets the most, will be declared our season-long champions. And of course, the best way to earn more is to bring your friends to events. Also, check out the MLH Fellowship. It's a remote professional development program for aspiring software engineers, and we're currently accepting applications for this fall. You can learn more at fellowship.mlh.io. And if you like Hack for North and you want to learn even more, check out Local Hack Day Learn 2. It runs October 10th through 18th, and it's a great opportunity to meet new people and learn new skills. Head over to lhd.mlh.io to learn more. But what is MLH doing here at Hack for North this weekend? Well, first up, at 3 p.m. EST on Saturday, we'll be running MS Paint Bob Ross. It's a really fun mini-event where we all try to draw something absolutely terribly, but it's a great way of relaxing, taking a break from hacking, and meeting some friends, so definitely come along. And then later on, at 9 p.m. EST on Saturday too, we'll be playing slideshow karaoke. It's another great chance to just take a break. Also, make sure we have your correct address so we can send you one of these rather swanky 2021 season mascot masks. While supplies last, it'll be in your little swag envelope with some other cool stuff too. And don't forget to draw an Octocat to win an Octocat. You see this incredible creature on your screen right now? That is an Octocat. So draw your very own and tweet it to us using @GitHubEducation and @MLHacks, using #MyOctocat and #HackForNorth. My favorite will win their very own Octocat statue and get creative. My favorite ever was drawing using ketchup, mustard, and toothpaste. And on the topic of GitHub, the GitHub Student Developer Pack has tons more resources too. Head over to hackfeed.ac/GitHub to claim free stuff like APIs, tools, domains, hosting, and more. We also have a ton of extra resources just for you here this weekend at Hack for North. So, Twilio is sponsoring the most creative use of Twilio prize. And the prize is a Game Go console and a swag box including socks, scrunchies, and stickers. Twilio swag is really nice if you've never seen it before. Use any Twilio API to build a hack for your chance to win. No credit card is needed, and you can claim $50 of free credit using the link on your screen right now. Also, don't forget to go and claim your free .tech domain from domain.com, including year of domain privacy. Just use promo code 21FULLHACKING. And check your email for up to $100 of free Google Cloud credit. Redeem $25 at a time. You can redeem up to $100 per Google account, but if you need more, just go create another account. Refill codes are available by talking to me or Nick. And we're also doing a best use of Google Cloud prize this weekend. Additionally, COVID-19 related projects will have a chance to win an additional $5,000 in Google Cloud credit for future development. Now, we've talked about all of this, but if you just want to dive straight into hacking and you don't want to write a ton of boilerplate code, check out our Hackathon starter kits. You can get them at hackfeed.ac/learn. As a quick recap, here are the prizes MLH is running here at Hack for North this weekend. There's all on dev post too, so don't worry too much about remembering this. And don't forget to demo this weekend. If you do, you'll win a very fancy smanchy Hack for North, one of a kind, limited edition, well, 3,000 of a kind, but that's not the point. Little sticker. You can get a different one every single hackathon you go to, and you should definitely demo, even if your project's not finished. It's a great way of learning new skills. Also, these companies and more are looking to hire hackers just like you, so if you're looking for a job or an internship, head over to hackp.ac/careers. Phew, that was a lot, but really quickly, on a more serious note, MLH hackathons are a safe space for everyone. And by being here at Hack for North this weekend, wherever you're a sponsor, volunteer, hacker, or anyone else, you're agreeing to the MLH Code of Conduct. If you haven't already, you should probably go and read it, but the TLDR is to be respectful. Harassment and abuse will not be tolerated. Additionally, at digital events, it's important to remember that there is a human on the other side of the screen. So be mindful when connecting with people's online and social profiles. Boundaries do still exist. And folks aren't ignoring you if they don't reply instantly. Give them time to get to your messages and questions. If you're having an issue with someone, please come and talk to me and Nick. If you can't find us or we're offline, send an email to incidents@mlh.io or call this number. If you're outside of the US, international numbers are available at the Code of Conduct link. Again, we want you to have an amazing, amazing time at Hack for North this weekend. And if something is preventing that, please let us know. Okay, that is it. Thank you again so much to all of our partners. I really can't wait to see what everyone creates here this weekend. Please come say hi to me or Nick. And seriously, we're just here for vibes. So have a great time. Good luck and happy hacking.
Thank you so much to Jacqueline and to the rest of the MLH team. Lastly, we have an exciting announcement for our hackers. In honor of the late Pearl Sullivan, the former Dean of Engineering at the University of Waterloo and one of Hack the North's first and strongest supporters, the university will be offering the Pearl Sullivan Hack the North Scholarship. Let's switch over to Kartik, Liam, and Kevin, the co-founders of Hack the North.
So as those of you in the Waterloo community may know, the former Dean of Engineering here at Waterloo, Pearl Sullivan, passed away this past November from cancer. And if you'd ever met Pearl, you'd know that she's like this super bright, passionate person that cared a lot about engineering education and innovation like no one else. She had this like super ambitious appetite for risk-taking and growth that you normally wouldn't associate with university administration. But actually, she was a huge part of why we were able to start Hack the North in the first place. Back in 2013, when Kartik, Liam, myself, and our friends first had the idea of starting the best hackathon experience in the world, we knew that we wanted it to happen in Canada, and that if it was going to be in Canada, it should be at the University of Waterloo.
The original pitch when we started this was that we wanted to bring together 1,000 hackers from all over the world to Waterloo, Canada. We wanted to raise enough money to pay for all of their travel expenses, no matter where they came from in the world, and to pay for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, and midnight snacks throughout the event. We wanted to install into the building the best possible internet so that no hacker late at night trying to get something done had to deal with some slow, delay actually seeing how to fix what they wanted to do or get what they wanted to do done. And we wanted to feed people not just any meals, but like world-class meals, which meant absolutely no pizza. We wanted to bring, not just some people from some companies to help out, but the best engineers from the best companies to send their, the best people possible to help our hackers learn and be mentored from the best that they could be mentored from. And we wanted not just that, but we wanted billionaires to come. We wanted like global leaders to come. We wanted the founders of these tech companies to be right there with you as you're hacking. And that was literally our pitch to Pearl back then. Pretty simple stuff. But honestly, back then, people didn't even know what a hackathon was. We were kind of staring blankly into a lot of people's eyes. And when we told people, we're making a hackathon, honestly, their most common response was just, what's a hackathon?
And as you can imagine, we had a hard time convincing university about our crazy plan. But Pearl and the Faculty of Engineering decided to take a chance on a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds back then with an ambitious idea. And a few weeks later, after our initial chat, we were invited back, and she said, okay, let's do it. And what do you need? And she not only gave her our endorsement, but she put the full force of her office behind us, which included giving us hundreds of thousands of dollars of in-kind donations and dedicating even a full-time event planner, Carrie Griffiths, to ensure that we get the much-needed adult supervision to make this a reality. And with her backing, Hack the North became what it is now, and our strong partnership with Waterloo Engineering continues to this day.
And over the past 7 years of Hack the North running, it's spawned startups. We've seen tons and tons of students get their very first internships. We've seen founders come out of these events, connect then back with the students that are attending. We've had lots of different leaders from around the world come by. We've had prime ministers come by. Many venture capitalists have either literally started their careers out of Hack the North or then reinvested into Hack the North. Multiple billionaires have come to the event and spoken to the students. And the entire idea of just the ethos that we saw at the opening keynote of just being a builder has become this common culture now amongst the students and amongst people that now, all of you kind of getting into these at the beginnings of your careers because of Hack the North and the kind of the culture around it. And even the event itself, to the credit of the organizers over these 7 years, it's not just been a hackathon, but it's been, honestly, and when I speak to people, it's been told back to me as the best run hackathon they've ever been to. So it's been truly incredible to see what's come out of that basically that gift from Pearl.
Yeah, and none of this would have really been able to happen without her. The other cool thing is that you realize quickly that this actually isn't an isolated incident. Our story is actually one of many stories where Pearl has made big bets and really bulldozed through some existing norms to really drive change and innovation over the last many decades of her being an educator and an administrator. And maybe this is best underlined by the fact that she was the first woman to ever be the Dean of Engineering here at Waterloo. And it certainly is by the fact that she's definitely the first Dean of Engineering to be a K-pop stan.
And to commemorate her spirit and pay it forward, Hack the North is proud to say that we have created a memorial scholarship aptly called Pearl Sullivan Hack the North Scholarship in her honor. This scholarship will be open to full-time undergraduate students at the University of Waterloo from any faculty. Yes, that's right, any faculty enrolled in 2B or under as a term. And if you have attended Hack the North or helped organize Hack the North, or if you've demonstrated leadership qualities and have an infectious interest in tinkering and building things, the scholarship will award 3 of you every semester in fall and winter terms with $3,333 in tuition grants, and this will be automatically applied to your tuition directly. So the deadline for the first round of awards for the scholarship is February 1st, 2022. So look out for information about the scholarship in your emails. You would have also gotten a brochure if you were attending the event in person, and it's also on the University of Waterloo website. And with that, we want to thank Pearl for everything. You will be greatly missed, and we hope that we can continue your legacy in what little ways we can.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to our co-founders. Now, we cannot emphasize this enough, but Hack the North truly would not be possible without any of you. Seeing how all 3,000 of you have come together to learn new things and bring your crazy ideas to life is so inspiring. Thank you to each and every one of you, whether you're halfway across the world or right here in Waterloo, for spending your weekend with us.
Hack the North's mission statement is to make it easy for anyone to dream big. It's our privilege to put on this event and bring together this amazing community. We hope that over the course of the weekend, you get to share your ideas and skills with each other and become a part of each other's journeys.
The hacking period begins at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, go say hi to our amazing sponsors at the sponsor bay, take some photos at our virtual photo booth, or attend the Hackathon 101 workshop. Get ready for a fun weekend, hackers. We're so excited to see what you build and where your journey takes you. Good luck.
And have fun.